Isn't it time you had a branded podcast for your business? As an example, ProDrive's Drive to Survive is a limited series of 6 episodes. One features supercar driver Todd Hazelwood.
Want to test your skills and test your knowledge, do it in a safe environment and come out to a racetrack. There's plenty of programs and training tools that you can use in today's society where you can do it in a safe environment.
Book your lesson online now at prodrivedrivingschool.com.au. Ipswich Today now offers branded podcast production. For more info, email podcast@ipswichtoday.com.au and check out Drive to Survive on iHeartRadio. Coming up, Ipswich Region Chamber of Commerce and Industry chalks up 117 years in 2023. Chamber President Phillip Bell joins the show for a look back on more than a century of history. Current issues facing business including staffing and sentiment, the birthday bash, and Council's economic development strategy. It's Tuesday, May 16, 2023, and I'm Alan Roebuck. Welcome to Ipswich Today, which acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land on which it is produced and pays respects to elders past, present and emerging. This podcast is supported by Kinetics, people-powered web hosting trusted by Australian businesses since 1999. This year, Ipswich Region Chamber of Commerce celebrates 117 years of serving commerce and industry since 1906. Current President Phil Bell joins the show. Great to have you back on Ipswich Today, Phil.
Oh, it's great to talk to you as always, Alan.
We last spoke in November after the annual Business Excellence Awards, and now you're planning the 117th birthday bash for the Chamber. Let's talk about that history. Can you paint a word picture of who established the Chamber and the categories of businesses which would have represented the books back then?
Yeah, absolutely, Alan. It's a very distinguished and proud history that we have. So the Ipswich Region Chamber of Commerce is the second oldest chamber, continuously running Chamber of Commerce that is behind Geelong, having formed in 1906. There are some contenders who are slightly older than us. Townsville certainly got a distinguished history, but we are proud to claim the title of the second oldest continuously running chamber. So through several world wars and all sorts of disruption, the Ipswich Region Chamber of Commerce has been extremely resilient and successful in that period of time, Alan, and comes from an extremely proud history of representing industry. That evening meeting that took place in 1906 was held at the original location of the TAFE College, the Technical College, there in the heart of Ipswich, which is now a fine restaurant and hospitality establishment that everyone knows and loves. And it was a town hall meeting that took place between industry representatives and educators and members of the manufacturing, primary production, and not least coal miners and miners generally, Alan. And that meeting took place, and out of that meeting was formed the Ipswich Region Chamber of Commerce, and we've been going strong ever since. What are the oldest records that the Chamber holds? Oh, look, we not surprisingly, Alan, that's an interesting story. We had among, I think, the most celebrated archive of our documented history that you would well imagine would exist of an organisation so old. Sadly, the 2011 floods came along, and a large amount, in fact, almost the entire archive of documents and records were lost down the river in that catastrophic event. They were at the time held at the Ipswich Surf Club, which is again one of our proud partners, and along with all sorts of manner of history and archive, many of our documents were lost down the river during that catastrophic event. But no, documents aside, the Chamber lived on and went on to grow and support business out of that and many other natural disasters.
Well, do you have any written or oral records of some of the famous Ipswich family names that would have been amongst those who established the Chamber?
Oh, absolutely. Several great names have been involved. The Foote family, that I think most people would be aware is a long-established and successful family from within the Ipswich region. There are a number of, I think, historical success stories along the way. The we've had all sorts of manner of contributions from right across the business community. In fact, indeed, our current mayor, Teresa Harding, has previously served as a volunteer on the board of the Chamber of Commerce, and we've had a number of other distinguished and esteemed board members and contributors and members right across that 117 years.
Before the documents were washed down the river, did you have a chance to look through them? And if you did, what did it reveal about the emerging city back then?
I have had a chance to review some of the other documents that are in existence. As you know, Alan, that those keeping track of the wonderful archives and records of our city generally do a fantastic job, and there are several social media sites that I'm sure you're aware of. But the interesting thing about the history of the Chamber is just the way it simply grew up, along with technical education. So right since that day, that evening where the Chamber of Commerce was formed, the partnership and association with Education and TAFE Queensland and apprenticeship learning was established and has been continuous ever since, and that's something we're extremely proud of. Along with some magnificent photographs, records of business people celebrating, working together through all sorts of disruption and natural disaster. I just love looking at some of those, those older black and white photographs of people standing outside their business, even out, in the region where I'm from, out Rosewood Way. Some of those older businesses, the liveries and the produce stores and butcheries.
The Bowgens.
Absolutely, yeah. The Bowgens still operating in John Street right to this day, Alan. Very proud history in business, and those stories are right across our region, of course. But just wonderful if you have time to review the archives of our business history.
From 1906 until now, and you've mentioned this briefly about the hiccups in the economy and world events. Now, we've been through the Great Depression of the 30s. Well, we weren't alive then, but we've read about it. 2 world wars, periods of high inflation. Did the Chamber actively operate during these tough economic periods?
Absolutely, and that's something that we're most proud of, Alan, is the strength and resilience. So I get the opportunity to talk very frequently about what it is that sets our region as a business community apart, and the number one factor is just simply our strength and resilience. So as a business community, I would suggest, been tested more than any other in Australia, which gives us all of our strength. The camaraderie, the support for each other. But it's during those times when the Ipswich business community is most under pressure that the Chamber proves its worth. So I do recall I came to the Chamber in 2017 as a member at that time, and Ipswich as a community was recovering from the last flood, and little did they know they were preparing for another one. And it's at times like that when the Chamber really provides all of the support for business that they're looking for and brings the business community together.
More recently, we've had COVID, and COVID is ongoing. During those lockdowns, the situation wasn't for the faint-hearted. What did that period teach us? That
period was, I would suggest, one of the most challenging in the history of the Chamber of Commerce. But again, what it shows, Alan, is that chambers of commerce generally, and I would suggest Ipswich more than any other, is the organisation that is best placed to pull business communities together during trying times like that. So there was a time, and I recall when COVID first struck, disturbingly, the telephones at the Chamber of Commerce went silent. But then all of a sudden, when people started to reach out and look for support and also look for opportunities that they could support each other, the phones absolutely rang off the hook. And that generosity, the goodwill and the support that the Chamber was able to bring together is something that we remain very proud of.
And now, of course, we've had a run of interest rate rises that feel like they're not going to end. How are businesses adapting to these rises?
Yeah, I think business is doing a really good job of understanding what the future of that looks like, Alan. I know that some of the retail spending is improving coming out of COVID. The interesting thing is, while interest rates are increasing and there's household pressures on mortgage finance and household budgets, I think business has done a fantastic job of holding reserves to build their business out of COVID. So post-COVID, I think what you're seeing is some very wise growth strategies across small business and large in the Ipswich community, and that's going to continue to bear fruit. While household pressure continues to put a squeeze on the local economy, I think business has got a great opportunity to lead the way out.
Staying with what members are telling you, Phil, is it generally still a major issue to get staff, or is it confined to only a few sectors?
Oh, look, more challenging than ever before. Since last we spoke, Alan, it is proving extremely difficult. So the positive to come out of that story as we continue to evolve as a business community is I think business, particularly locally, is getting very good at developing strategies to attract and retain staff. So locally, the businesses I talk to are good at adapting their business, putting in place, whether it's flexible working arrangements, part-time strategies, other sorts of rewards and recognition for their staff. We're getting much more sophisticated at attracting and retaining the right people. And indeed, this is a region where I think we're starting to benefit from lower cost accommodation, great value in real estate prices around this region, and as a consequence we're having a little bit of a kick, I think a bit of an uptick in terms of attracting people to work in this region.
Ipswich City Council recently released its 4-year economic development strategy. Is the Chamber happy with it?
Yeah, look, Alan, we're pleased. I think it does bring together some significant parts of our history and some of our regional strengths. I get the opportunity to talk very often about all of the strengths we have in our region. Fastest growing local government area within the state, and certainly one of the fastest in the nation. And we benefit from all sorts of geographical advantages. We sit between two major east-west arterials on a major freight line, and we sit equidistant between 3 international airports, which are becoming more relevant as we move out of COVID. Where I think there is opportunity to improve on that economic development strategy is around building a plan for the next 4 years. So how do we intend to support local business, attract and retain, and also bring investment into the region to support small and large business?
Overall, how would you describe business sentiment in Ipswich mid-2023?
I think we're doing much better than average, Alan. I think there's a renewed optimism coming out of COVID. I think the business people in Ipswich that have made it through COVID and built great strategies out of COVID-19, they're tough and they're resilient and they're intelligent, and they're building great strategies, I think, to lead through the forthcoming challenges in terms of inflation and interest rates as we move through some of those broader economic issues. So look, I'm very optimistic, and I think we're doing significantly better than average when it comes to retail sentiment and business sentiment generally.
We started our chat talking about 117 years, so let's talk about the birthday bash. What have you got planned?
Yeah, we can't wait. We're in a very fitting move. We're back to where it all started, Alan. So we're back at the pump yard, which is the old technical college, the site of the meeting that first took place in 1906. And there's going to be something very moving and significant about returning to that site to celebrate this amazing milestone. So on the evening of the 31st of May, we're absolutely looking forward to coming together as a business community with all of our locals, our members, non-members, all those who just simply wish to celebrate that amazing record of 117 unbroken years of support for local business. We're very excited.
And how's planning looking for the Business Excellence Awards?
It's huge, Alan. We've, as you know, planning starts on the evening of last year's awards. So we plan all year and then we party, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So nominations are well open now, and businesses have already started nominating not only themselves for some of the new and innovative categories, but also some of those businesses, their partners, their suppliers, customers, and others who they just have a pleasure to do business with. So there's already a feverish nomination process and number of nominations that have been submitted, and we're very excited about that evening, Alan.
Always great to get your insights, Phillip Bell. Thank you so much for speaking with Ipswich Today.
My pleasure, Alan. Always a pleasure.
And a reminder, don't forget to look for handy links in the show notes. Ipswich Today is supported by Kinetics, people-powered web hosting trusted by Australian businesses since 1999. This podcast is also listener-supported. Please make a once-only gift or regular donation to help keep it online. Just go to ipswichtoday.com.au and click the donate button on the homepage to make a payment through PayPal. Follow and stream this podcast from your favourite app, including iHeartRadio and Amazon Music, or play Ipswich Today on smart speakers. Music is supplied by Purple Planet Music. This is Alan Roebuck. Thank you for listening. Ipswich Today can now place your business name right here. It's a new service now available. For more information, contact the show via the website ipswichtoday.com.au.